Hello, hello, and welcome to what I am calling the prequel episode for my Road to the Gilded Staff of Collection. My name is ZDSauce, and I am your standard Endgame Ironman maxed Grandmaster elitist filthy clogger guy. And I am chasing the ultimate goal of turning this Dragon Staff of Collection into a gold boy. So, in my opinion, that is like the ultimate sign of like, hey, you actually completed RuneScape. Obviously, there's always more to do, but that's as close as we can get. So that's my current goal, and it's gonna take a while. But I would love to, I would love to actually have that at some point in the future. So let's jump in. This video isn't going to actually contain any progress or drops, but it's more going to serve as a time capsule to show where I'm starting at on the journey. Now, looking at my account, the journey's obviously been ongoing for a while, so when I say start, I guess I mean the start of the documented portion of everything. So I've never really made any kind of old school videos before, so it'll be a bit of a learning process, learning how to work with like replay buffer and editing things to a somewhat acceptable level. So hopefully y'all can bear with me. But I'm excited to be able to look back at these videos and kind of look at the progress I've made and capture all of the hype moments that will inevitably happen as I get rarer and rarer drops. So let's see what we're working with. I'm currently sitting at 1422 collections logged, which is definitely up there, and it might seem close to the ultimate goal of 1500 currently. However, the goal that I've chosen is actually a moving goalpost. So at the time of recording this, the new free-to-play cow boss comes out in about a week or so, and I've done some gigabrain calculations, and we have, I don't know where the total collections logged are, but basically we're only 2 new collections away from having this 1500 jump to 1525. So although it might look like I'm 78 away, I'm actually about 100 collections logged away. And just like with anything in RuneScape, the closer you get to the number, the harder it is to make that number go up. So these last 100 are going to take a very, very long time. However, Mama did not raise no quitter, so we will push on and continue to try to make progress and all of that. So I could do the standard thing of going through every single tab on this, but I'm going to flex my elite editing skills that I actually don't have yet, but I'm going to try to have, and throw on some banger background content, bring up some screenshots of different clogs and everything, and talk through it that way. And by banger background content, I mean Mage Training Arena, Telekinetic Room, because that is just like quintessential clogger material. Let's jump into it. All right, so my collection log is currently quite balanced. I have some easy clogs scattered around here and there, but no big sections that give me a free 20 plus slots like Trouble Brewing or Castle Wars. So from the top, let's look at the first tab of bosses. My plan for going over this is to kind of, like I previously said, create logical groupings of the bosses and talk through them all at once instead of clicking on it one by one. So let's get started. An easy first logical grouping would be God Wars, so let's bring it up. Both Nex and Krill are green logged. I spooned Krill, very, very nice, happy about that. And Bandos, Sarah, and Arma are all complete minus their respective pets. These pets don't sound so fun to go for considering how rare they are, so I don't really have any immediate plans to hunt them outside of the occasional boss slayer task. Next grouping, I'll bring up Desert Treasure 2 bosses. I have them all complete minus pets, as well as Virtus Mask. Considering the amount of combined KC I have throughout all these bosses, I would love to have at least one of the pets from these guys, but that is life. Never lucky. I enjoy all of the Desert Treasure 2 bosses, so even though Virtus Mask isn't really that useful, I would love to complete the Virtus set at some point. So I do occasionally kill these, but again, not really a high priority, but I'll definitely kill them more than God Wars. Next section, we can talk about Wildy bosses. These are mostly looking good. I have Voidwaker completed, and both the Odium and Malediction shields also completed. So all I'm really missing are pets, as well as Treasonous Ring, which is random and not that hard to get, but obviously I'm never going to use a Treasonous Ring, but +1 Clog would be nice. I guess one thing to note is I am quite dry on the Chaos Ellie pet, but I'm sure I'll get that eventually as I do Slayer and go for other Wildy stuff. Next up, we have Barrows and Moons. These aren't really bosses, but they're on the bosses tab, so we're going to talk about them. So Moons was relatively easy to green log since there is dry protection there. Barrows, not so much since there's not dry protection. It would be really cool to green log Barrows at some point. I feel like it just looks really, really nice. Plus it is also pretty decent for passive elite clues if I end up going for that, but obviously not a high priority. I never really use Barrows gear for anything. Speaking of not really bosses, we also have skilling bosses. So Temperos, I'm just missing Pet. Wintertot, I'm just missing Tome. I will say Tome would be really nice to get at some point. I feel like Jagex has been putting a lot of emphasis on elemental weaknesses lately, so I wouldn't be surprised if Tome becomes Bis at some places in some point in the future. And then lastly, Volcano. I need Pet and the Tool Seed. I guess one interesting thing with Volcano is I don't really know what's efficient for me right now, whether I should do small teams or masses. Masses are much better for pet chances, whereas small teams are much better for tool seed chances. So when I've done Volcano recently, I've just sent masses because I find it pretty chill and fun, but I'm not really sure what like the macro efficient route for this is supposed to be. Next section, early to mid-game bosses. This is a big one. They're all pretty easy to green log minus the pet, so let's rapid fire. Obor, Bryophyta, Hespori, Deranged Archaeologist, all green. Whereas the bosses with pets, Scurious, Sarachnis, Huey, Royal Titans, Amoxhliotl, I have not spooned any of them. Sarachnis, I still need Jar as well. These are kind of nice shorter pet grinds that I'll probably go for at some point, but haven't really been focusing on them too much. Okay, another big category here, Slayer bosses. So I have all the items I want from these guys. It's mainly just, once again, pet and jar hunting. Let's see, Kraken is my only green log Slayer boss. And Sire and Thermi, I'm just missing Pet, whereas Serb, Grotesque Guardians, Shelby and Griffin, I'm missing Pet and Jar. Hydra's a little bit interesting. I'm only missing Dragon Knives from the collection log here. My plan is to try and get these passively from Worms instead of doing Hydra directly. I figure as I go for Dust Mystic, I'm going to be doing a lot of Slayer in general anyway, so I think it'll just be much more efficient to get these from Worms instead of killing Hydra, considering I already have Pet and Jar there. And then Skatizo, I'm missing Jar of Darkness. I unfortunately did most of my totems before that drop rate got buffed. But once again, as I go for Dust Mystic, I'm going to be stacking up tons of Brimstone keys, and that means that I'm going to get lots of totems along the way as well. So hopefully I grab that and I'm not punished for not being a waiter. Waiters always win. Next section, we have what I'm going to call wave bosses. I guess these are kind of related. So Fight Caves is complete. I got the Jad pet. Very nice one. Inferno is missing pet. I haven't done a ton of it. I do have some spare capes stacked up in the bank, so maybe I will just gamble those at some point when I'm bored and get spooned. We'll see. And then Colosseum, I'm just missing Ralos. Ralos would be really nice to get. There's a lot of utility there at Theater of Blood. Okay, maybe not a lot, but a little bit of utility there. It is a nice item to have, but that'd be cool to green log. And then Doom is fully complete. As you can see from my collection log, I am an absolute boot magnet. I actually got Cloth last, which is the most common item there, but the drop rates actually aren't that different, like Cloth, Eye, and Tread, so it's not the weirdest thing in the world. Next section, we have what I'm going to call old school standalone bosses, basically the OGs. So the big four. So KQ, I'm missing Pet and Jar. KBD, I need the pet. DKs, I need all the pets. And Giant Mole, you guessed it, I need the pet. Seems to be a bit of a theme going on here. On the flip side, we have what I'm going to call new school standalone bosses. So basically more recently released stuff, or recently released in the old school era instead of being there as old school released. So first up, obviously, Mr. Money, Snake, Zulrah. I need both mutagens in the pet here, whereas Mr. Money, Dragon, Vorkath have actually spooned pretty heavily with the early Vissi and Jar here, so I'm only missing pet. I guess Yama is included on here. It's kind of annoying since I do have full Oathplate, but I had to make my legs and chest with shards instead of getting them as drops naturally, and unfortunately that does not count for the collection log, so I'm missing a couple here as well as pet. Let's see, next up Muspa, I'm just missing the pet, and then, oh, finally, we have one that I do have the pet for, which is Gauntlet. Gauntlet's fully green logged, however, it would be kind of cool to get a second enhanced seed so I can make the salad blade, but that's obviously not that important. Last section, I'm going to call this Flex Bosses. So we're looking at Nightmare and Corp. I like doing these from time to time since getting any item from any of these is pretty cool, but they don't really have that much used. Nightmare specifically is looking real empty. It's kind of weird that I have Pet and Jar, but barely any items. And then Corp, I'm missing Pet and all the sigils. I'm actually due one sigil, but unlucky, can't win them all. So hopefully when I do get a sigil, it's going to be the Arcane, but honestly, Elysian would be pretty sick. That's a very cool flex. And then Spectral actually has real utility at some place like Serb. So yeah, okay, woo, that was a lot. Next up, what are we doing? We're doing raids. Let's go to raids. I'm a disaster. How could I forget my spider boy Araxor? There's a lot of tabs over here to the left, so I do think this is the only one I missed. It should have been on the Slayer part, obviously, but just to quickly go over it, 2.1k KC. I'm probably technically dry for Pet. I don't know the exact KC that I finished all the items, but I have been destroying for a while. I would really, really like to get that white Amulet of Rancor, so hopefully I get it soon. We will see. I'll just keep on doing it as I get more Slayer tasks. All right, on to regularly scheduled programming. As promised, we're going to look at raids. So I do have all my items complete for all 3 raids. So it's basically just capes, pets, kits, all that kind of good stuff that I'm missing. For Chamber specifically, I do have the pet, which is super nice. It's by far the rarest raid pet, so happy to have that. I am missing the dust as well as 1 extra kit. I have 2. It'd be nice to have 3 to get the full Twisted Ancestral outfit. And then my CM capes, I'm kind of hoping in the back of my mind that Jagex will at some point let regular Cox completions count towards these to be in line with the other raids, but not really holding my breath. But I don't do a ton of CMs. This isn't probably something I'm going to be going for anytime soon. Onto Tob, my favorite raid, which is a very lukewarm take. Log is looking really good here. I have 3 sites. I got my first one at 11 KC, which was pretty nice. I'm still missing Pet, but that's okay. It's like 1 out of 600 or 650 or something in normal, 1 out of 500 in hard mode. So should get this as I work towards the 2k capes. I do think this is a raid that I could see myself green logging in the future just because Tob is fun. And then I'm also missing Sand Kit. I've been getting only holy kits, but I do have dust, so can't complain. And then lastly, we have TOA. This log's looking really good. I actually have 2 pets, which is pretty cool. So all I'm missing here is just capes. I probably am going to go for the 500 cape at some point in the near future. My clan's introducing a new rank soon that's going to have this as a requirement, so nice little excuse to grind out some chiller 150s. It'll be a good time. That's it for raids. I guess I can hop right into clues while I got y'all. So yeah, beginner clues, I got green log. This was pretty recent. It took me a very long time to get the Amulet of Defense. 859 is definitely unlucky here, but nothing super insane. Easy treasure trails, 111 out of 131. There's definitely a good amount of room for me to bump this number up a bit. Green logging would take a while, but do another 300 clues or something, and this will probably get another 10 log slots. I guess things to highlight, I got 3 team capes out of 4, which is nice. Team cape X is all I'm needing, and then I also do have one of the monk robe G pieces. These are much rarer than all the other items. And then besides that, it's just, I'll get the other ones when I get them, kind of as I'm hunting this this specific bottom piece. Mediums is kind of the same story. I have most of the items here. I'm missing, what's this, quick math, 17 items in general. I don't think there's any like specific rare pieces, but I will fill this in gradually. Moving on, we have hard clues, only missing 9 slots here. It's looking pretty good. Things to highlight, H plate bodies. So these are rarer than the other items, and I have 5 H1s, which is kind of crazy. I'm really hoping the next H plate body I get is going to be a unique. Surely the odds are in my favor, but we'll see. And then D-hide shields, I have 3 out of 6. And I actually have 2 of each of the ones that I have. But outside of those, like, there's only a couple random clogs that I need. So not a lot of wiggle room for hard clues. Elites, yes, I do my elites. A lot of people will think I'm crazy for it, but I'm a clogger. I gotta do it. I guess the most important thing to look at in the elite clue log is Tuxedo. I have 3 out of 10 pieces, a couple dupes, but that's okay. I think in 728, I'm assuming 3 is lucky, but I don't really know for sure. But yeah, this is looking pretty filled in. 12 log slots left. And then Masters. I'm a Spoon. I have the Bloodhound. There's a couple different rarer items. I guess mainly the Godsword ornament kits are a bit rarer than other items. I have 2 of them out of 4, which I'm assuming is probably pretty nice. The Dragon Kite Shield and Dragon Plate Body ornament kits are rarer as well. They're actually very rare. One of them's like crazy, but I'm not sure which one out of the 2. And then Enku and Mummy, I got 2 pieces out of 10. I'll take it. These are tough to get as well. Master Clues are just really slow to do in general. And then I don't really have much outside of the rare ones besides Torch Ornament Kit and then these 2 pieces as well. And then the rares, let's see. I have 2 pieces of Third Aid, which is pretty nice. It's got to be lucky. It's not really any cool pieces or anything. Like Band Braces are very, very silly. Amulet's pretty cool to have though. And then I guess actually I can probably show the Elites and Masters on their own. I do have Ring of Nature, 2 Rings of Nature actually, which is nice. And Gilded DI Band Braces. And then Master, I don't think I have anything special. Oh, I do have Ring of Coins. So that's pretty nice. I believe that's it for clues. I think it's probably to no one's surprise, considering the amount of clues I've done, that this is green logged, the shared section, as well as scroll cases as well. This was a fun update when it came out. Lots of free clogs. Okay, I'm going to go back to screenshots and trying to be organized for the next 2 sections, since there's a lot more tabs than these 2. All right, mini games. These were a bit harder to separate out logically than bosses, but I did my best. So what we're going to start with are skilling mini games. So first up are skilling mini games that I have green logged. So we got Fishing Trawler, Giant's Foundry, Rogue's Den, Teeth Farm, Veil Totems, and Mastering Mixology, all green logged. These are all pretty quick. Like Teeth Farm and Mixology are a bit longer, but I didn't really mind those too much. They're still nothing too crazy. I do also have Potion Storage, even though it's not a clog, but pretty much Mixology is just, if I ever go back, it's for Aldarium, which I'm going to have to do at some point because I don't really have any Goading Potions or the Prayer Restoration things. And then on the flip side, we also have non-green logged skilling minigames. So we have Brimhaven Agility, which I'm just missing Pirate's Hook here. I'm also missing Brimhaven Voucher. I did all my Brimhaven stuff before that update came out that split out the tickets, so that's a free clog right there whenever I want it, which is kind of nice. We have Guardians of the Rift, where I'm just missing the Pet Transmog. I think I'm only like 1,000 pearls away or so, maybe 1,200. So that's not too far away from being fully greened as well. We have Mahogany Homes, which good amount of opportunity here, if you will. I just have the boots. I don't really like this that much. I've done it a little bit, but I know I have to go back at some point and get it. I don't think it would take terribly long to get these last 4 slots. And then lastly, Volcanic Mine, where I'm just missing that Broken Dragon Pickaxe. It's actually, I think the Broken Dragon Pick is actually a little bit of a long grind, but not quite sure. Next section is what I'm going to call the AFK Retirement Home. When someone thinks about a clogger, this is what they think of, or at least the first 2. Castle Wars and Trouble Brewing, totally green. I work from home, so these really weren't too bad to get. I would just kind of like sit in Castle Wars or Trouble Brewing and collect my points, and it was pretty nice. I also included Soul Wars here, so I wasn't really sure where to put it, but it's a really AFK thing to do. I've done a little bit of it, but I've just been buying crates just to try to get the pet. I probably should go back and at least get the cape and the ectoplasmator thingy, whatever it's called. But I'll get to it when I get to it. Not a huge fan of Soul Wars, unsurprisingly. Next section, we are looking at combat minigames. So Barbarian Assault, obviously I don't have the pet. That's one of the hardest pets in the game to get besides Bloodhound, and I got that, so no big expectations for spooning BA pet, unfortunately. And then I'm also missing the Penance Skirt, which I'm pretty close. I've been running a little bit of BA here and there, but really not that much. And then the Granite Helm as well, which I believe you can get from Terror Dogs, but I'm just going to get that passively through high gambles at some point. LMS, we have a good amount of stuff that isn't done yet. I have done a little bit of progress on it, but I haven't done LMS in a while. I don't really know what the state of the bots are. That's always what it comes down to, is how easy it is to get wins. I'm definitely not some kind of legendary PK or anything, but I can get wins here and there. I can hold my own a little bit versus other PVMers at least. And then lastly, Pest Control. This is green. I mean, obviously it is. I guess the only 2 things are the Void Knight Mace and the Void Seal. those two are things that people don't always get, but that was not that much work to get that on top of Void once I finished that. And then last section I'll bring up is kind of just miscellaneous mini games that couldn't really fit anywhere else. So Barracuda Trials, this was pretty quick. I got this on sailing release. I'm actually looking pretty good on sailing clogs as a whole, but we can talk about that more in the other section. Gnome Restaurant, I did this a very long time ago, but this was kind of fun and quirky to greenlog. Didn't take too long. Shades I got greenlogged as well. This again was a while ago, but I kind of liked it. It was nice. I don't think it's really worth doing on an iron. I know for mains it's really good for elite clues, but on an iron, nothing special. And then Temple Trekking, which takes like 5 minutes to do. So got that done too. Okay, one more tab to go, and this one's probably going to be the hardest to organize, but we're going to give it a go for the other section. Actually, no way that I've done it. Again, I forgot about Hollowed Sepulcher. But yeah, I greenlogged that. Pretty cool. I'm hoping to get the squirrel at some point so I can actually use that acorn on him. But yeah, okay. Surely I'm not going to forget anything in the other section though, right? I think we can do it. All right, first section we're going to talk about is sailing clogs in general. So sailing actually introduced like a ton of new clogs. So I'm going to bring them all up here. And first thing, I guess the one that probably jumps out the most is, since it's the one that's not green, is boat paints. So I am just missing Barracuda paint, and then once I get that, I'll get merchant paint for free as well. I have like 500 Temper Tantrum completions, so I'm definitely overrate for that. But it's overall not like a super long paint to go for. I think Salvers and Anglers are both longer, and I got those out of the way, which is pretty cool. And then the other ones are all looking good, like Lost Schematics, Ocean Encounters. Those are both pretty easy. Miscellaneous, I got pretty lucky on things like the Dragon Hook and Cannon Barrel. And then Sea Treasures was pretty chill to go for, just AFK and salvaging at work. Next up, let's look at combat. So Champions Challenge, I actually got this done very, very recently. Lesser Demons was my last one. I got pretty close to running out of cannonballs, but luckily didn't go insanely dry on my last scroll or anything. I don't think there's anything super notable. Like, I didn't spoon the heck out of any of them, and I also didn't go crazy dry on any of them. But very cool cape, very cool flex. And then Cyclops, obviously green. Chaos Druids, I'm just missing one piece. Glows Experiments, I got greened like maybe a couple years ago. I think the last thing I was missing was like the Heavy Frame, which is actually good at Araxor, so it's pretty cool to have this one green logged. Revs, I am just missing the crossbow, and I've just been missing that for a while now. You can see I have a lot of scepters here, but we're not going to talk about that. I'll get it eventually, hopefully. Tormented Demons is obviously pretty quick, but I do have all 3 synapses, which is cool. And then Tazar, I'm halfway there. I know the Mage Staff is a lot longer of a grind, but this would be nice to get done at some point. Okay, next section, we are looking at skilling. So aerial fishing is absolute psychopath behavior. I do have one of the rods, so I have done it a little bit, but going for the fish sack would be kind of crazy. I think it'd be really nice to do at some point, but yeah, it's a long grind. It's very click intensive. It's pretty intense. But yeah, Colossal Worm Agility is done. I did that kind of on release. Forestry, that sucked, but I got it done. Hunter Guild, just missing Pet. Monkey Backpacks, I do have that complete. I actually kind of enjoyed this. I don't know if that means I need to go see someone for an illness or anything, but I thought it was pretty chill. And then kind of all the old content, Motherlode Mine, Rooftops, and Shooting Stars. Those have all been done for a while, obviously. And then next section, I am going to call this stupid shit, because this is basically all the stuff that I think could debatably not even be on the clog, but it's here, and it's just kind of thrown into the other section. So Camdozil is green, Chompies is green, Creature Creation's green, Fossil Island Notes is green. My notes is missing a couple things, but I figure this is just something I can get passively from going for Dragon Fullhelm from Mythal Dragons. And then whenever I get that, if I still have some left over, I can just rummage those skeletons or whatever, and it should be not too bad. Random events, I do have the stale baguette. I'm super glad that I'm not like a million hours into my account and still missing that. And then Shazian Armor is probably the stupidest collection log I've ever seen. It's just 25 random pieces of armor. Yeah, it's something. Okay, and then the last 2 massive sections that we have to look at here are the Slayer section, which we'll bring up here. I actually had to separate out into 2 different images because it didn't quite fit on my scrolling area of my game. I guess one thing to call out here is Imbued Heart. I have two. I have like 60 mil Slayer XP, but it took me till around 50 mil or so to get my first Imbued Heart. Went a little bit dry there. But then I got another one when I was Turiel skipping on like a cave crawler or something. And yeah, I didn't know how to feel about that. But yeah, I guess besides that, things to call out is like Ancient Wyvern stuff I'm still missing. I'm doing that very gradually. Dragon Knives we already talked about. And then kind of the main section of missing things is like Konar Slayer, which I haven't really focused on too much. And then a couple kind of recent Slayer drops that I haven't really gotten around to yet. But in general, I try to stay relatively on top of those. And then the other large section of the other section is the miscellaneous tab. So you can see at the top, big fish are looking pretty good. I've been focusing on that a good amount from trawling. So just Swift Marlin is last. It's the rarest, the most annoying one, but it'll be really cool to have those all complete once I do eventually get that. And then besides that, we're looking at Metal Dragon stuff like Dragon Full Helm, and then the Lump and the Slice I need to get done as well. Evil Chicken, I do have one piece. That's kind of been my go-to work AFK lately. I just kind of like sit at a bank or whatever, and then I have Discord pings set up and everything, and then whenever there's an ent, I just go do it, and then go continue to sit at the bank. So I'm going to try to stack those up and have some of them be opened on a video in some point in the future, which would be fun. And then I guess the other big thing to call out is the Dragonstone armor. I've kind of used up all my crystal keys, and I'm not planning on sitting at Gorex anytime soon, so we'll see. I'll probably just not do that for a while, and then stack them up, and eventually, hopefully, pull another piece or two. And then also, Helmet of the Moon, baby. This is probably one of the luckiest things I've ever gotten on my account. It was 7 KC, and it's one of those items that I never, ever, ever would have expected to get. And I just like couldn't believe it when I saw it appear in my inventory. And it's just such a ridiculous item. I wear it everywhere. It's so funny. But yeah, okay. Ooh, we got through it. That's a lot of different tabs. And that is the collection log. I believe we've gone through everything. Hopefully I didn't miss anything else. I think one other thing I want to cover really quickly is just my my pets in general. So for skilling pets, I'm looking pretty good. This is kind of a section that would be pretty nice to green log. Especially Soup, since I have most of the other sailing uniques completed. I'm kind of on the fence on if I would want to do port tasks to go for Soup specifically, or if I should just wait for other sailing updates to come out, because there's going to be other opportunities to get it passively anyway. But yeah, we'll see. I'll see how I'm feeling. I'm not going to like try to be too macro vision about it. If I want the turtle, I'm going to go try to get the turtle. And then pets in general, I have 22, which who knows if this is lucky or unlucky. But it'd be nice to see this number kind of crawl up slowly as we complete other content. But we'll see. But yeah, that is going to do it for this video. I appreciate you sticking around and looking at my clog. I have no idea what the cadence of videos are going to be, but I mean, at this stage of the game, things happen kind of slowly. So I'm assuming it's going to be like pretty long breaks between videos. But if you're interested to see some dopamine boxes pop up on my screen, feel free to subscribe. And yeah, I think I'm done. Bye-bye.